Welcome to Around the Board, a show where four board game enthusiasts discuss board game topics and news. In today's show, Play Shelf Trade makes a comeback. We put John on the hot seat, find out some of the weirdest places we've ever gamed, and wrap it up talking about the hunger. Now, here are your hosts. Daniel, I think he's the Joker, or a lumberjack, or a zombie. Connors. John, the Couch, Dracula, Theisman. Chris, Darth Sidious, Thomason, and Andy, I'm a pirate Skull King Barnett. Now, join us around the board. Did I get those costumes right at all, guys?
Well, Andy, I think you got Daniel's wrong. I believe he is the Hulk in mid-transition from Banner to Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Because of his Marvel thing, you know, it was Marvel theme.
No, it is Disney, though. I'm Disney's Zombies from the musical.
Oh, it's
Zombies.
Shrek?
All the kids are watching it. It's the biggest
okay.
thing.
There's a musical?
Yeah.
Like High School Musical?
Yeah.
By all the kids, you mean the two in your house?
Correct.
Okay. And then, John, did I get yours right? Are you I can't see with this one iPad. That's part of the problem here.
I am a vampire. You're correct.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yes.
And then, Chris, you're obviously Darth something.
No, I would actually be Sting.
It's Sting! How did it get there?
I will admit, I do kind of look like Sting, the wrestler, if he got fat and joined Kiss.
There you go.
I gotta admit, but hey, it's all good.
All right, I like it. Well, very good. So Sting, the singer.
Yeah.
Sure, you should sign up and go to one of his shows. I think he's gonna look like this. I promise.
Sting, if he joined Kiss, I like it.
Now there it is.
There it is.
It writes itself.
Then Kiss would have been a good band.
Well, I'm not just a generic pirate, gents. I am actually dressed up as the Skull King from the game Skull King. And do you know why?
Yes.
You want to know why?
I would love to know why.
Because I am a two-time champion of the Skull King tournaments. This here is a national championship trophy from Gen Con, and this one here I just won at Meeple-a-thon, the local state champion. So I'll be playing again in the big tournament, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah,
So
take that World Series of board game. We got our own hero
That's
here.
right.
That's right. Right here. Bring it. Yes, sir.
Chris, as the Lionheart would say, two-time champion.
That's
correct?
right.
That's right. All right. There we go. A little wrestling reference. All for Chris's benefit.
You guys excited about Halloween?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, my friends kind of ruined it by being born that day, so.
Well, wait a minute. What are you talking about? It was weird growing up. It was my birthday, and I went to a small private school, and they kind of really played up the fact that Halloween's not a holiday you should celebrate. It's kind of Satan's birthday or something like that. It was kind of offensive because, I was born on that day, so I kind of took it personal. It's
So they're not wrong, right?
There's some trauma there, is what I'm saying. Arr.
We're sorry about that trauma.
Yeah.
But you know who had real trauma?
Who's that?
Chris from last week.
Oh, that's right. Let's
yes,
that a little
yes.
bit. Yes, here on Around the Board, we've had our first faux pas or score correction, or however you want to say it.
It will not happen again.
Maybe we should have gone to instant replay, or maybe there was some roughing the passer involved. But in any event, as I predicted during this, just to further my objections to the alphabet game, during the alphabet game in our last episode, Chris was given the letter Y.
Why do I have
Yeah,
this?
Y indeed.
Yom Kippur, the game.
There you go. It's probably a game.
I think that makes me the winner,
Yom
right?
Kippuropoly. There it is.
With just a very little research, we did find there is a Yom Kippur the game, which there's probably an anything the game you could mention if you look hard enough. That's another reason I'm not crazy about that game. But hey, let us know what you think about it. What did you think about the alphabet game? But yes, Chris, we all owe you an apology, especially Daniel.
I am sorry. Next time you throw out a random Jewish holiday, I'll just assume that there's a board game about it.
Well, speaking of our segments, they're all part of the game, right?
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Sorry, I spent too much time on this to pour water on this.
Exactly.
Around the Board is all about debating different topics within tabletop gaming in 4 unique segments, each hosted by one of us. A behind-the-scenes judge will award points at the end of the show. Whoever has the most points will sit on their soapbox and talk about whatever the heck they want. Now it's time to play the game. Let's start it off right now.
Round 1. Fight!
All right, so we got everyone's favorite segment, Play Shelf Trade.
Yes.
And this week, we have a Halloween themed version. So, shocker. But
wait. This is a Halloween episode?
Yeah.
That's correct. I mean,
Oh.
I would like to think so, or we really made randomly get dressed up for no reason. Like
That makes sense now. Why we're all dressed up. I was confused.
Yes.
Okay,
correct. Yeah,
Connecting
we were
the
dressed up
dots
like this
now.
for no good reason.
Yeah.
I think we'd be in a different part of YouTube than we currently are. But regardless, so our games this week are Abomination, one of John's favorites, as we all know, Dead Man's Cabal, and the co-op Horrified. So we all kind of know where everyone feels on different things. I guess we'll start out with Andy. What you got?
All right. Well, thank you. This is going to be a pretty easy one for me, honestly. Anytime there's a co-op involved and only one of them, well, we know where it's going probably. I'll get to that in a second, though. Let's go to play first. Play. You know what I feel like playing right now? I feel like playing Abomination. That's a fun game. And I've enjoyed it, John. I know you don't think I have. I've only played it once or twice with you, but I need to give it another shot. It was a little lengthy for me at the time, and I didn't quite understand it at first. It was a late Friday night game session. I think we started it probably like 11 o'clock at night. I remember that because it really didn't get over till like 2 in the morning or something. And
it was pretty late. It was pretty late.
And the one thing that I did have a problem with it is it seemed like it was all decided by dice at the very end, which put a little bit of a sourness in my mouth. But nonetheless, it's an awesome theme. It's got worker placement. It's a cool game. I would love to play it again soon. What's going to stay on my shelf? Well, that's going to be Dead Man's Cabal. I own that game, and I own it proudly. I know there is some controversy within it. Some people think it's a little too, the theme might be a little too dark. And look, I get it. There are some imagery in it that's a little dark, but overall, the tone of the game is its silliness, right? You're playing as a necromancer who is bored and lonely. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring back famous people from the dead. And so they've got all these cards. Well, technically they're not. They are famous people. It's pretty obvious, but they don't do that for copyright reasons. But there's cards that, like, there's one that looks just like a dead David Bowie, which I guess David Bowie is now dead here for a couple of years. So that's
was
kinda
he
sad.
dead when the game was published?
You know, that's a great question. I don't think he
so.
was. So that's,
Okay.
but I don't know. That might be a deep dive trivia thing. Anyway, Dead Man's Cabal is a fun
Let us know in
game.
the comments.
What's that?
Said let us know in the comments.
Yes, please let us know the answer to that question. But Dead Man's Cabal, you're playing as this necromancer who's raising people from the dead for a party, and it's got really cool worker placement aspects to it. So you kind of move different things around. There's different ways to score points. I like Dead Man's Cabal a lot. I know Daniel is going to trash it here in a second, but it's a fun game. The mechanics are just really good from Pandasaurus Games. And then we'll go with Horrified. You know what? I probably should give it a try sometime, but for right now, co-op, just going to shoot it off, trade it away.
All right. Well, I guess I'm next on the docket. So I am definitely going to, let's see here.
Wow, he's really thinking this over.
I'm really
Yeah,
thinking
wow.
about it. I was actually just waiting for my solo shot there. So, okay, thank you. Now that all the attention is on me.
It's time for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
That's right. I can't give you my I need all the glory. Okay. So my play is going to be Abomination. It actually is a really enjoyable game while it lasted a little too long for my liking, for the randomness that is in it. Yes, it can be mitigated, but when you're playing a 3-hour game, you don't want a lot of even mitigated randomness in the severity that it's in as well. So that's my play, but I heard the Igor fix, I guess it's an abridged version, helps that limit, and it might be a better game, so I do want to play that. My shelf is going to be Horrified. I guess there's opportunities in which I would play it. I'm not a big fan of co-ops. I don't quite hate them as much as Andy, but Dead Man's Cabal is not going to enter my house. So when we discovered this game at Origins a couple of years ago when it was brand new, I was kind of like, oh, this looks cool. We sat down and we played it, and Andy was like, oh, that's fun. I was like, you know what, it is fun, but just summoning the undead on a pentagram hits a little too close to home for me. And I was like, I really don't want that on my shelf so that my family and friends can see that and go, what's the satanic thing on your shelf? No judgment, like if you have it, I give Andy a hard time about it, but my Christian sensibilities, sometimes I'm just like, ooh, it kind of gives me the cringies so I'm like, it's a hard pass for me. Dead Man's Cabal, while it has unique mechanics, I think Wadake does the same type of thing where you're moving down a track, like entering something, it pushes out, and then you can now take an action in the new track. So if you want to experience that, play Wadake instead of playing a game where you're literally casting bones of humans and resurrecting the dead. That's enough for me. So, John, what about you?
All right, so it's great to hear that everybody wants to play Abomination because it's one that I really need to get played because it's one of my favorite games, has been alluded to, and it really, it's a blast, but it is long. But they've kind of fixed that with my Igor variant, where I can use my little Igor and make the game a little shorter because it skips a few of the rounds and it lets you get a head start in building your monster. The cool thing about people are complaining about the dice and the randomness, but the dice just bring your monster to life, and you don't necessarily win by bringing your monster to life. There's many other ways you can accrue points in the game. That's what's cool about it too. Is I've had people, I think most of the times I've played, the winner is not the person that brings their monster to life. That's basically just what triggers endgame. And so as far as that goes, and there's more ways to mitigate the dice with the Igor variant. So Abomination, definitely my play. Dead Man's Cabal is probably going to be my shelf because unlike Daniel, I wasn't raised by satanic necromancers, so it doesn't hit close to home for me. So I really don't relate to it. It's not something that I'm, I'm not in Necromancers Anonymous. It's not something I can't be around. But it is odd. It is odd, the dark imagery that is in that game, that is such a silly game. That's really, because when I played it, I was like, this is what this game is about. I was expecting something a lot darker because actually, the mechanisms and the play is really fun. That's gonna be my shelf for now. And Horrified, it's got to be my trade because I've traded it 3 times. So I actually bought 3 copies last year when they were real cheap at Walmart for like $6. And I think I gave one away. I put one in I gave one to somebody for Christmas, put one in like a trade, and then the other one was at our Christmas game giveaway last year. So since I've traded it 3 times, it kind of has to be my trade. But as far as co-ops go, it's the most fun I've probably ever had playing a co-op was playing Horrified. So it's really top shelf for a co-op, which still gets it traded in my book, I'm afraid. So that's what I've got. What have you, young Chris?
Well, I'm shocked, John, that you haven't played it at all, but that's
it was at Gen Con. So
okay.
And it was when it was brand new. It was like one of the hot things at Gen Con, surprisingly hot, because it's not it's a mass market game.
Yeah.
And so I was surprised that it was that hot of a game. And like it was when I was there with Andy actually, and Andy had to go off and do something. I was like, hey, let me go hook up with these guys. Nobody's ever played this. Let's play Horrified. And so we all learned it together, played it together, had a blast. Just got into the theme and the fun of it, and yeah, it was a good time.
Cool.
So yeah, kind of piggybacking off of that, I guess I'll go ahead and start with my shelf. So I'm shelving this one, which is Horrified, because it is the best co-op that I have played that's not like a legacy or a campaign. Like for it to be a one-off game, it is without question the best co-op game I've played. I mean, there's some other ones out there that get close, like Shadows of Camelot's also a great one, but it's a very different game. But I really appreciate in Horrified how the different monsters have all these different wing conditions. So with the random combinations of the different ones, it kind of changes the game every single time. It's also fairly straightforward, but it's interesting. It's also tough. If you play it kind of straight, so to speak, the first couple times you're probably going to lose. It's actually pretty tough. So, and when you do win, it's by the skin of your teeth, and so it's always exciting in that. So yeah, Horrified's gonna be my shelf because it's my go-to when I'm looking for a co-op, without question.
Cool.
Then I'm going to play Abomination. And the reason I'm going to play Abomination is I need to find out it seems to be it and My Father's Work seem to be like in this like fight duel on the internet of which one's better. And I really, really like My Father's Work. I hope at some point we can get it played and we can talk about it on the show. But Abomination also, it seems very interesting. Seems, again, there's a lot of parallels. I understand why people kind of put them up against each other. Unsure about, like dice and stuff like people said, but I do like the idea how, creating your monster actually isn't always the path to victory, because that just kind of the way it also works in My Father's Work. So, and then Dead Man's Cabal. I'm trading it because I have to. Absolutely have no problems with the theme. I'm also a Christian, but I'm a big D&D player, so especially like old school D&D. So all about the sacrificing the people and doing all the things, because it's all make believe. It ain't real. I'm not actually worshiping anyone or other gods or anything like that. It's all a sham. It's a joke. So it doesn't bother me at all, and it shouldn't bother anyone for that matter. But regardless, no. See, but I do want to play it. I do want to get it played. Yeah. But for the purposes of this game, I have to trade it.
Gotcha. No, hear me out. Hear me out, guys. I'm a D&D player as well. I've slayed my demons. I've played my chaos in the old world where it's spread out on the flesh of humanity. It's just something about like even the abstraction of like what I'm actually doing in that game. Like I am summoning the dead using bones of those dead people on a pentagram, which is traditionally associated with satanic stuff. To me, that abstraction is just a little too real for me. So like, but I don't blame anybody else for having it, though I do give Andy a hard time perpetually for it.
I'll give you this, Daniel. I will say this. It's definitely something that's worth a conversation.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to bring kids into play it. I'll say that for sure. And
we established in like episode 1 that children ruin games, so I don't know why that matters.
Well, that's true. I changed my tune. I didn't want to get canceled. So.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I love the children and the wives and everyone.
One more thing, chime in about.
So I gotta jump in here. We're talking about back to kids and the whole like sacrificing thing. So listen. So it's crazy.
Took a turn.
So we were at Meeple-a-thon, and this lady comes up to me. She just starts talking about just different stuff, and she's telling me how like she hates kids and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I hate them. She's like, if I had them, I'd gladly give them to a one of those guys, the witches they're called,
brothel. No.
Hello.
A coven.
A coven, yeah. Give them to a coven, or just the name of the it's not witches. It's I can't think of the name right now. Whatever.
Well, on that happy note.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, cool. That's awesome that you just hate children that much. It was the weirdest thing. I've never talked to anyone, like male or female, that's ever just seemingly hated children as much as this woman. It was really weird.
Chris, did you get her to subscribe to our channel?
So that was the thing. I'm sitting there selling the show, trying to talk to her. I'm only listening to her insanity because I'm trying to get a sub. And she was like, oh, I'll come back later. But she talked to her for like 5 minutes and then just walked away. And I was just like, okay.
Epic fail.
It was bizarre.
So tell us in the comments below what you think of hating children and play shelf and trade, what your play shelf and trade would be. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button to continue seeing more great content just like this.
Yes.
And if you have 3 kids, which one would you play, shelf and trade?
Very good.
Round 2, fight.
It's time for a new segment, right?
That's
I think
right.
it is.
So, guys, we are going to be having a new segment on the next 4 episodes, and it's going to be called the Hot Seat. If you can think of a better name for it, let us know.
No. We have to keep it. I've already come up with theme music, Daniel.
We have theme music.
So hot it hurts.
Hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot.
I said it's getting hot in here. So hot.
It's hot. Damn hot. Real hot.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
So hot right now.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
That's hot.
All right. Well, thank you for that intro music there, Andy. So the Hot Seat, it's going to be a way that we're going to get to introduce ourselves to you, and we're going to do it in a little rapid fire succession. And today we are going to focus on John. We're all going to have our time in the hot seat in episodes that are coming later. And then when we start having guests on the show, we will subject them to the hot seat as well. So we're going to see how this works. but we're going to queue up John in the center screen, and we are going to just bombard him with questions about his gaming habits, his personal life, and
hygiene,
tax returns. So are you ready, John, to answer any question that is shot at you?
I believe I am ready. Yes.
All right. So John, your deepest, darkest secrets. We're just going to go around the board, I think, or so I'll go first. So here you go.
Okay.
John, where were you on the night of October 10th, 2022 around 8:50 p.m.?
Is that today?
That was yesterday.
I was asleep in my crypt.
You were not.
I wasn't.
Yesterday was Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. I was watching Monday Night Football. I was watching Patrick Magic Mahomes leading the comeback against the Rotten Raiders of Las Vegas. Yes, thank you for reminding me. This is going to be good. Daniel, can you answer all my questions for me as we do this too?
Well, I set you up previously. What happened at 8:50? It was the worst play in football. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh.
Chris,
Just so we don't confuse our crowd.
Sure. So here we go. So the first one, what is the first 5 of your social security number?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Tomato. And if it is tomato, follow-up question, is it potato?
Well, to avoid your question, and because that's the way I say it, it is tomato.
All right, that's fair.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, here's my question for you, John. Exactly what century were you born in?
It was the 20th century, believe it or not.
I'm shocked.
Yes.
What is your number 10 game of all time?
Number 10 game of all time?
That's right.
It might be well, just because I played it so much early on, it might be Catan. To tell you the truth. Or Settlers, as we called it in the day.
There you go. All right. So what exactly is it that makes themes so important to you? Like, what is it that just really makes it the forefront for you?
Well, I'm not really sure, other than I kind of like pick games like I pick a movie, I guess is what you would say. Maybe it's kind of a transference, because if it's to me, a game is a story, and it's a story about what you're doing in the game. And if it's a story that I don't find interesting, then I really have to be talked into it. But there are good movies too that I have to be talked into, just like there are good games that I have to be talked into. Doesn't mean I will not like the game, but it means I am going to be very hesitant to play it.
John, you like themes, but it seems like you keep going back to mafia and gangster themes. Why?
Because that's one of my favorite themes. I love mafia and gangster themes. I love Western themes. And oddly enough, I like ordinary themes. Like I like Dream Home. It's because it's something like Brick and Mortar where you know what you're doing. It's something that you know if they're actually replicating it well. You know what I mean? If it's something that's probably why I don't like fantasy even as much in movies, because you don't know if they're doing it well. They're making it up as they go. Whereas if there's a more realistic theme, you know when they're getting out of bounds, and you know when the game mechanics, for instance, don't match the theme.
All right, there is a right answer to this question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Well, it's Daredevil. Is that not the right answer?
It's fine, as long as it was on the Marvel side.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so John, what's your thoughts on bidets?
I have many thoughts on bidets. Usually I'm on my phone while I'm on the bidet having thoughts.
Oh, okay. So you actually use the bidet? Like,
I wish. I would love to try one. That's my thought.
I'm just so unsure how I'd feel about it.
I would unsure how they would feel.
That's the whole reason for waterproof phones, right?
There you go. Exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But if I'm in a fancy hotel sometime, I would love to try one.
Indeed.
All right. Well, here's one for you, John. Why do you hate co-op games so much?
There's a main reason I hate co-op games is maybe because I had a bad taste in my mouth with it. First time I played was Pandemic, and a 4-player game where I'm the only one that hadn't played it like 15 times. Okay. And so it made sense to do what everybody told me to do on my turn. There you go. That's that. I didn't really feel like I was playing a game. And most co-ops feel more like a job than they do a game. It's like, well, we got to get this done. We got to get this. Well, I did this for 10 hours of work, what I had to get done. I want to do what I want to do when I play a game. So,
all right.
I hope that wraps that up.
Oh, sorry. Who's your favorite board game reviewer?
My favorite board game reviewer. That's a good one.
Yeah. That's so.
Question. If you had to pick a favorite board game reviewer, sorry, that was my now I can't think of his name. I was just imitating. Brian Drake. He's probably one of my favorites.
Brian Drake. Okay.
Yes.
Is that
All
it?
right.
Was
that
the
it?
hot sheet over?
No, that was just John was taking too long with that
Oh, is
that
that
answer.
what it was?
That's all. Keep going.
Dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs by a long shot. Are you kidding me? Dogs have personality. They love you. They are loyal to you. Cats couldn't care less if you were there.
If you
Amen,
could date,
brother.
if you could date a board game, which board game would you date, John?
Wow. I'm just looking around here. The river has a cute girl on it. I guess I'll date the river. I don't know
All right.
what else to go
I'm glad
by.
we brought this up. How long have you been married, John?
I've been married 20 years. 21 years. 21 years.
Congratulations.
There you go. Thank you.
So you're the man of theme, but still, nonetheless, what is your favorite game mechanic?
Worker placement is my favorite mechanic. It's the first time I played it was I think we talked about it in a previous episode, was Lords of the Waterdeep. And first I'm like, what are we doing? What, we have to put a guy, but it's what we did, what now? And then nope, someone else, I can't go because his guy's there. But by the end of the game, I loved it. And so it's if you have maybe that's why I like two of my favorite games are probably Abomination and Corleone's Empire, Godfather. They're both amazingly themed and they're both worker placement. So, getting me, it's a stake in my heart. There you go.
All right, John.
Yes.
Question for you. What happened the first time we met? It was pretty unique.
The first time we met, I believe, was at a board game trade. Is that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so funny because both of us screwed up on our math trade. And Andy was going to receive 3 copies of Coal Baron, and I was going to receive 3 copies of King of Tokyo. And so I went up to him. Daniel arranges. He's like, well, he's getting 3 copies of a game too. He might trade you for one of yours. And I'm like, well, okay, let me give it a try. And so I'm like, Andy, because one of mine I was trading was Coal Baron, I think. No, when I was getting whatever. I was like, Andy, hey, I'm John. I'm the King of Tokyo. And he's like, I'm the Coal Baron. All right, let's trade these games. So that was pretty cool. I believe that's how we met.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
Yeah.
Would you rather play your favorite game with an annoying person or play a crappy game with a friend?
Probably a crappy game with a friend, to be honest with you. Especially if it's a game that we don't know is crappy until we get into it. And then we can just kind of make fun of it as we go, because
Or what if you know it's crappy and you have to
well, even still, we can still make fun of it and have fun. Yeah. I've played with people, especially people that are extremely AP, and you're playing a lightish type of game and you're like, oh my word, it doesn't matter. Just, you might get, I'll give you a point. Just take your turn.
All right. What is your favorite band?
Favorite band? Wow. I used to know this when I was younger, but I don't know if I really have bands. Some of the older ones, you know what? I kind of rediscovered them because I heard it when I was a kid, and then because my older brother and sister would listen to it, and so like the Who is one of them that sometimes I'll just turn on, like when I'm cleaning dishes or something, and their songs are long. You can get, who are you, and you're done with the dishes. So
I approve of that answer.
thank you. Yeah, the Who was pretty amazing.
Well, I was going to ask one more, but I think we're just about out of time. I'll get one more in, okay? What does your family think about your board game addiction, honestly?
Well, I have a saying, nothing is an addiction if you haven't stolen to support it. So don't really have an addiction, but actually I don't really let it, I don't think, encroach too much into my family life, because I try to keep it like, hey, if there's nothing planned for the weekend, I'll try to set something up for board games, or like that. If we already have stuff going on, then that being said, I missed my son's recital when we went to that Meeple-a-thon. But, some concessions made by everyone.
He'll have others.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, John,
That it
thank
for the
you
hot
for
seat?
being in the hot seat. We're glad that we finally know who you are. I've been wondering for the past several months, like, I
Who
don't
is
even know
this
why
guy?
he's on the show. I don't really know him very well. So thank you for exploring the depths of your heart and your soul.
Thank you. I'm sure the viewers have been wondering that too. Well, who is that? Why is that guy on the show?
Yeah.
He offers nothing. So.
All right. Well, guys, that's the end of this. And we're going to pause here for a moment and hear from a word from our sponsors.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Join your friends and gather round the table for a new epic role-playing adventure filled with dragons, treasure, untold perils, and... what was I saying? I had it written down here, but can't seem to find it. Wait, maybe I forgot to write it down. Oh, okay, well, yes, let's just take a listen to a real live game.
You enter the north gate of the village. You and your motley crew are tired and hungry from the long journey. Where are the Cheetos? Could someone grab me a Mountain Dew?
Let's stay focused on the gameplay. Now, where are my dice?
It's my turn. Did you hear about my elven cloak's defensive strength?
No, it's my turn.
You rolled a crit. Congratulations.
I'm hungry still. Would you quit fidgeting so much?
I have amnesia.
The game you and your friends will never stop talking about. ADHD&D. It's pretty much D&D. I think. I can't remember. Seriously, where are the Cheetos?
All right, and we're back. And we're back to our awesome segment that we have with our good buddy Hansa, where he brings us comments from you, the viewers and listeners. Hansa, what do you got for us today?
Well, today I have a comment from Cray Cray. It was left on our YouTube channel on the cutout episode featuring Wingspan. Cray Cray says, "Dear Around the Board, Chris, you break my heart. John, what a phenomenal defense of a quality game. I can't... You know what, guys? I can't do this anymore. You know what really breaks my heart? Have you heard of the ugly shaming that the Dice Tower had done? They did a top 10 list or a vote or something where they were talking about the ugliest game covers. And me and my friends, Kalis and Hamburgum and Meltscape, we all appeared on it. I am offended, I am ashamed, and I'm appalled."
Well, I mean, yeah, it's hard to hear, Hansa, but I mean, you weren't first. I think you were closer to last. So I mean, there's
Means there's a lot more uglier ones.
Yeah,
That's right, Hansa. Suck it up, buddy.
Oh, well, I came in last. Take that, losers. Meltscape, you're so hideous.
It sounds like when I proposed to my wife, I said there's a lot more uglier ones. So just like you, Hansa, there's or at least
the
a few.
speech I want
At
to
least
hear.
a few.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Alrighty.
Well, sorry, Hansa. I'm so sorry that your feelings were hurt. What was that?
That was the end of the segment.
I think that was the end of that segment. What happens next?
Well, I'll tell you what happens next.
Round 3. Fight!
Yeah, we're going to do a new segment in round 3. It's called Weird Places, the weirdest places you've played games. The way it works is we're each going to have 2 minutes to talk about the weirdest places we played games. And points will be awarded based on how weird they actually are and whether we entertain our judge behind the scenes. So let's
the
start.
Weirdest place or the spookiest place?
Spookiest. Well, or just weird. We're just going
okay.
Weird. Sorry, my segment. Go ahead, Daniel. You get to start us off here.
All right. Well, the craziest place I played was in a cemetery. I was playing Dead Man's Cabal, and we drew a pentagon. No, I kid. So, I had to think about this. I was a security officer. I know, shocking. I have always had this physique, so that's even more shocking. And in college, and we would go into the different buildings at night, and we play games wherever we wanted to. So we would play it in the auditorium where the theater was at. We did it on the catwalk. We did it in the gymnasium where they played football. We did all those places. It was a lot of fun, a lot of just kind of cool sneaking around because I had the keys to everything. And then the other place I was thinking of was in high school. Chris, you'll appreciate this one. Me and my friends were actually going to one of the wrestling events in Kansas City, and we had a 2-hour drive from Junction City to Kansas City. And so what are we going to do for 2 hours? We need to play a board game. So my friend's mom was driving. We removed the seats in the back of his van, and we just laid out our Munchkin game. And for 2 hours on the highway, we played Munchkin, completely safe and secured. And if there was an accident, I'm sure we all would have been dead. But you know what? It was a
relief.
memory.
Yeah, getting a game of Munchkin in is definitely worth risking your life.
It was. Guys, Munchkin was my game. It was my jam. Me and my friends, we played Munchkin forever. I had every set for up to like 5 or 10 or 15 years. I don't remember. They're up until Axe Cop. If you're a Munchkin aficionado, you might recognize that that's when they started to do IPs. I was out at that point, but loved me some Munchkin. But it hasn't aged well with me. But
Gotcha.
all right, well, that's for me. So John, you want to share your story?
Well, it's funny. I really didn't come up with what I was going to talk about till just now, because when Andy proposed this, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Andy wants to do a whole segment on something because he has one story to tell. But I was going to use when my son and I played in the park when we were camping. But I talked about that on the show already. That's lame. I already talked about that. But then I remembered I did play on a train one time in the middle of the night when I was heading out to Arizona with some family, and a lot of the family had a sleeper car. I didn't have a sleeper car, and my nephew, who's only like 5 years younger than me, didn't have a sleeper car, and we were in a Stratomatic league together. Stratomatic baseball. If you're not familiar with this game, it's an amazing baseball simulator that uses cards and dice. And we would play we'd draft our own teams, play 162 games against each other. You keep score on an actual scorebook, baseball scorebook. So you keep score just like you keep score of baseball. You keep stats, all that stuff. It's a blast. We're like, well, we're not going to be able to sleep because where are you going to sleep on a train? We'll bring our strat stuff. We'll strat all night long. No problem. So we sit down there. We go into the lounge car. Nobody else is in there. It's the middle of the night. Open up our scorebooks. Did you bring a pen? No. Did you bring a pen? No. You've got to be kidding me. Neither one of us brought a pen. You need pens to play this game. So we're sitting there all bummed. And the conductor, of all people, comes walking through the cabin. This dude, it looked like something from Nerd Express. Pocket protector, had to be 15 pens in it. And we're like, sir, could any chance you would have a pen that we could use? And his response was, sadly, no. And just walked on. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
What? That is awesome.
We were like speechless because, but I just got desperate. I'm looking, and I finally found like an old Bic with the cap missing in the windowsill, and we shared that the rest of the night. So that's how we played Strat all night long. So we still did it, but it was a pain.
I really wanted to say it was a board game miracle. But this went a different direction.
This conductor is my hero.
Oh my
god, like the Grognard King.
I can't give you Steve or Philip or Susie. I can't give these pens up.
These are my favorites.
Unbelievable.
They're my children.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so mine is I didn't play in this one, but I still need to bring it up because I think it also proves that I haven't knocked any stores over so it's not an addiction, and also because I know when to know where there's boundaries of when I should play a game and when I shouldn't. Recently, a few months ago, my son had a birthday, and so I worked very hard at putting the birthday party together, and had I was at a park. I bought some soccer goals, worked really hard to try to make it a fun event that everyone could be participating in and enjoying. And I'm working on making the burgers and doing all the things, and I look over, and there's some people at a table, and there's some cards out. And these aren't like playing cards, like, whatever. No, this is a full board game, cards, all the kind of thing, full thing going on. And who is orchestrating that? The man who's turned away in shame at this moment. Exactly. Daniel. Daniel has a true addiction. He couldn't even wait till the kid's birthday party was over that I worked very hard on, trying to make entertaining everyone. And Daniel was just like, nah, this place is lame. You guys want to play some board games?
We're playing Welcome to the Dungeon. It's a great outdoor game.
Which
the guy who says you should never play outdoors.
While we're taking a second to bash on Daniel, you will recall from one of our previous episodes that Daniel was like, I don't want to play games outdoors. I want to be in the moment.
Yep. What a lie.
I have a goal this year, guys. I got to play all my games.
That's true.
And if I'm gathered with friends, I got to take advantage of it.
If he's going to lie about this, what else is he going to lie about? I bet he's lying about how he doesn't like Dead Man's Cabal. I bet he's in a weird satanic cult.
And I actually am a huge DC fan.
Oh.
All right, what you got, Dan or Andy?
Oh, well, hold on. You got a little
more
more time.
Spawn this whole segment.
Now your time's up. Okay. So unlike you guys, I have like a whole list of stories, not just one or two. So I'm going to get through these as fast as I can, lightning style, and I can't talk with this beard. It's coming off. I'm sorry. I broke character. Okay, here we go. Goblet. I played the game Goblet. You played the game Goblet? Fun little game. Played it with my wife at the hospital in the maternity ward while she spent the day in child labor with our firstborn, trying to have an all-natural birth. And guess what? Ooh. She did not like playing the game, but I kept trying to play the game with her. And that's not a thing to do when someone is laboring in significant pain for 8 hours with no medications. Do not try and play board games with someone in that situation.
Is that regular goblets, you mean?
Okay, we now have the new bar for addiction.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the new bar.
The new bar.
Another one that was interesting. I played, this was back when Black Friday, when you actually had to camp out for stuff still. We were camping out at a Walmart overnight to get a deal on a big screen TV. We played Carcassonne on the floor of a Walmart and got some really weird looks. That was a fun one. That was from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. or something. Let's see. I've also played on an airplane. I pulled down the little tray table, and we played a game of Biblios cards on this little tray table, which was really awkward, by the way. And no, do not make any jokes about joining the Board Game Mile High Club, please.
Whatever. That's not a joke. That's a real
thing.
Not
a joke at all.
It should be a new thing. That's right. We'll maybe that will be a new thing that people can accomplish. I also have played on an anniversary trip with my wife at a romantically themed hotel. Nothing says I love you like trying to play Dominion on a big fluffy bed, which we somehow did.
Pictures of and posted it on our Facebook group.
I don't think there were pictures. Sorry.
Okay.
I've also played at a friend's fancy wedding rehearsal dinner. I've played at a voiceover awards show. There was time, and I was in a tux, and I had a little game with me. And finally, maybe the most awkward thing I've done is we host international students at our house, and we've had people over from all these different countries, and we all play Secret Hitler and accuse each other of being fascists. And that is fun, surprisingly. Nice. Really, really fun. Hopefully not too offensive.
Andy,
so there you have it.
I think you hit every single story that was listed on that board game group when we posted this to the national group.
Did I really?
Yeah, there were so many on there, and I think you nailed like half of them.
I think so.
Well, sorry to steal
playing
the thunder.
In line, playing in labor, playing in.
That's where you got the stories.
Yeah, I just made it all up.
No, but I said, we did post this in a.
No, I didn't make it all up. Not for real. Those are real things that happened.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Knowing you, I assumed all those were true. Like
they are
only
true.
You with those
they are true.
For, but I that's why I thought they were true.
Yeah, most of those seem horrible enough to actually be Andy.
Yeah,
it's just people are like-minded like me. So.
It's true. Well, and let's see how like-minded they are of you, because as I said, John posted this in a national board game group, but we also posted it in our local group, and we got some very interesting responses. So this is from the national group. The first 4 are all from the national groups, but we have Sherry Gap. She played this while on a train, just like John did.
There you go.
Yeah,
I want to play a game of 18xx on a train someday. Like that's a real thing. That's not a joke. Like I know it's a long trek, but there's got to be some sort of awesome like trek across Europe or even across the US. But a full game of 18xx across it, that sounds awesome.
Nice.
I'm going to talk about the one that Richard Krantz did. He played in the basement of a funeral home, complete with a casket in the room. And when I read this, I had flashbacks to a previous job I had years and years ago where I would, people, if you go into businesses, sometimes they have carpets and rugs and stuff. Well, a lot of times they rent those from a company so they don't have to clean them, and people have to come in and change those out. I had several funeral homes on my route, and one of them I had to go downstairs into the mortuary to replace these rugs. And to do that, normally these kind of things don't freak me out, but to do this, you have to get on this elevator that if you were in a horror movie where somebody died on an elevator, it would look like this. It's one of those where you open up the big gate, you got to do this and shut it, and then you push this button to hold it. You got to get it just right on the. And every time I'd come out, there's dead bodies on my rug, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to move these around. And I couldn't imagine playing a game in the basement of a funeral home. Sorry, that would wig me out. So
I'm pretty sure they were playing Dead Man's Cabal, though, right? They
probably were, and then then they get more players.
Well, according to and I can't pronounce the name maybe correctly here. Rika Is it Christy Rica?
Sure. Let's go for
Costa
it.
Rica.
That's not
sounds
right.
made up.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't read the. I can't read it. We'll do it live. Anyway, they said that they played just today at the side of a pool.
There you
I
go.
actually have played by a pool too. That didn't make my list, but I have. I remember teaching the game Survive Escape from Atlantis to some kids while we were sitting by a pool, which was quite
Sure you did.
apropos.
Yeah, played a game that.
You sure
close to
this
a
wasn't
pool.
during
That's
a
the most
water birth?
terrifying thing.
Oh.
All right, Chris, you got the next one?
Sure. So we got Samuel Griffin. He's played on the ledge of a cliff at the top of a climbing wall.
That's
Like-
insane.
That's
Wow.
crazy. Like,
I
I mean,
bet
that's,
playing-
I thought that was going to initially go when I first read it. I was like, oh, he's going to be on top of like a mountain. He's good climbing, but like a climbing wall, like most of the times those go pretty close to like the ceiling of the building you're at. So
Yeah.
like the fact
No,
that
no,
he had
no.
the dedication to actually get up there and play it, that's pretty
So,
impressive.
Chris, you can't see this, but there's going to be a video playing right before or after this. They are
Oh.
literally on a ledge of a cliff. It was
Like an actual cliff.
climbing, but they
Oh,
were
okay. So it was a
really
cliff. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. That makes more sense.
real.
I mean,
cliff.
while still insane,
Yes.
at least that makes more sense.
All
I
right.
bet they were playing Trailblazers.
Yeah. So then next we have Nathaniel Curran. As he says, we've only played a board game in one place that wasn't our house or my friend's house, and that was Carcassonne in Carcassonne.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
All
I
right.
think he listened to our first episode where wasn't it this
Oh,
guy
no.
down here said something about Puerto Rico.
Yes.
No. I thought you were going to talk about the game Endeavor, which you pronounced in Denver, and we were going to talk about playing Endeavor in Denver.
We have to play Endeavor in Denver someday.
That would be good.
We need to start like a BGG page list of like people, like a checkoff of playing like the different board games in the place that they are.
There
So
you
like
go.
check off Carcassonne and Carcassonne, Puerto Rico, yada yada yada.
Well, is there
think
any
that'd be
Kansas
pretty cool.
game? I think there is. It's a train game. You need to get it, Chris.
Kansasopolis.
Well, Great Western Trail. Great Western Trail.
Gardneropoly and Gardner.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's Topeka and Wichita and Kansas City, I think, all in there. So there you go.
All right. Well, let's get these other ones out of the way. Let's get those quick here.
Real quick, David Same played in an abandoned Kmart building, which I believe was Meeple-a-thon last week.
Ding ding ding. And we got Ruby Munin. I once played Exploding Kittens with strangers while waiting in a line to vote.
While microwaving kittens.
Michael Mason says, I played on the floor in a basement that was infested with house centipedes. It certainly added extra attention to the game.
And then we have a local hero, Andre Noth. He played in a bunker in Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Thank you for your
Wow.
service.
Yes.
For
thank you.
real.
And Chris, what's the last one?
I think that's it.
Oh.
No, there's
Laura.
one more.
Oh, okay. And then
Oh.
yes, this one's from a local friend, and what I would consider a friend, but maybe not anymore, as they joined Daniel in the infamous game where they played during my son's birthday party. She said she had a child's birthday party at the park, but that was actually, in fact, the same event. So,
Who is?
Laura, we are
Okay.
on shaky waters, you and I.
Oh, man.
I was going to say you didn't announce the said friend, but then you did. So
Yes.
there you go.
All right. Well, guys, let us know what are some of the weirdest places you have ever gamed. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.
Round 4. Fight!
All right, round 4, I believe, is the great game debate, which is what we call when we take a game that is somewhat well known or somewhat thematic to the day, like today with The Hunger. It's a newer game that's come out this last year, and it's a really cool deck building pressure luck game. And it plays 2 to 6 players in around 60 minutes, maybe not with a teach, and maybe not when players are also watching football at the same time. Then it takes a little bit longer, I can tell you that. But it is a race in which you're trying to gather your play as vampires, and which that's why I dress as a vampire today, by the way. And where you're going out away from the castle to try to feast and feed on different unsuspecting victims. And as you do that, these victims get added to your deck, but they don't allow you to move, and you need movement and speed in your deck to get back to the castle in time before sunrise, lest, Andy, what happens to you? You turn into dust, as Andy found out. And so it's a little deck building, a little pressure luck, and we're going to find out what everybody thinks about it. Everybody's played it, and we're going to see what they think, and we're going to send it around the board, starting with
Boom! Oh, yeah, baby! What the hell? Sting!
Sting over here.
All right. Well, man, I have some interesting feelings on this game. So, just as a concept, I kind of like the idea that it's get and get back. A lot of people are like, oh, it's kind of like Clank, and sure, that has kind of the same idea, but I don't know. I felt like I enjoyed it more than Clank. I was never like that. I played it, and I was just kind of like, it's okay. I don't really care. Even though I know people love Clank, but it was just kind of whatever for me. But this one, I don't know, something about it was different. I enjoyed the get and get back, and it seemed impossible. I'm gonna be honest. So like we were getting to the point where we kind of had to turn back, and I was still like 8 spaces away from the place you get like the extra reward or whatever like that, and I just turned back because I mean I'm largely a very conservative person. Not well, I don't take a lot of risks is the best way to describe it, is what I mean. So and so I was just like, yeah, I'm head back, and everyone's head back at the same time, but I had a kind of a little bit of a jump on them. But even then, like the cards that you get throughout the game, like yeah, they give you points and some abilities, but like they're all like movement 0. They're all like just you don't move. And again, it's get back. But the caveat being that if you don't get back at all, well, actually, if you get back to the actual house, you have the chance of truly winning. And then the closest like 3 places, you can still live and you lose like 5 points. So you're still in the chance of winning. As long as you're in those last 4, you have a chance of winning. If you are not in one of those last 4, you just lose. I don't care how many victory points you have. The idea is you're a vampire, you've been out, the sun's up, and you turn to ash immediately. So as being a grognard, I love the rules that are punishing, that are do the thing or you lose. So I was a big fan of that. The game overall is fine. I enjoy it. I'm not rushing out to buy it, but I'm also not going to like say no to play it. I think it's that's 7 typically on BGG, where almost every game is really. So I enjoyed it. But so overall, that's kind of what I would rate it. I'd give it, I enjoy it, but I don't have to own it. However, on a personal note, that game will forever be a 10 in my book, because I could mark it down as Andy, after 3 hours of play, had a score of 0. And when I can mark down that Andy has a score of 0 after 3 hours, that is an auto 10 in my book.
You logged that bad boy, right?
That's right. I didn't win. No, I took second. Like Kelly played with us and she destroyed us, but I didn't turn to ash. I actually had points. So, what did you think of this game, Andy?
Well, I think you might know what I think about it based on that last little sentiment. I wanted to like this game, and there were at times I did like the game. Now, I will say, part of the problem with our play is there was a little bit of a misconception about when the game ended and where you had to be. Now, I know you say that that's not the case, Chris, but we couldn't figure out where the terminology was the mountains, the cemetery, the shadows, and we were trying to figure out where exactly he had to get to. And so I was a little confused on that. However, yes, I did get destroyed. I ate too many humans, and I did not digest them properly. So I kind of just tried to trudge back to the castle, and I was very slow and sluggish to do so. And suddenly the sun came up, and I burst into flames. I will say, however, it was a fun theme. Although if Daniel doesn't give this one trouble, I'm really going to question him, because there's something just evil about digesting humans, maybe, right, Daniel? Maybe? I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. I can't wait to get his thoughts on this. Theme was all right. Honestly, though, it felt a little bit too much like Clank to me. And Clank is a game that I liked at first a little bit and then kind of got pretty bored with. I think I'd get pretty bored with this after a while, too. If I'm going to play a deck builder, I'm going straight for the good stuff. And for me, that's Tyrants of the Underdark. Man, I love me some Tyrants. Got some area control, some more conflict, and you still got the deck building aspect. I get what they were trying to do. Cool theme. I'm not going to say I was a huge fan, but I wouldn't mind playing it again, I guess. There will be probably some. I think there are some expansions coming, and there's room for that, and maybe more maps, and who knows what. But it's all right. It's all right. I'll give it a 7.
Wow. All right. Well, I was not in on this game. I had to spend some time with my family that weekend, so I had played my play several months ago, maybe even a year ago, and but I remember walking away from it thinking, I will probably never play that game again because if I did, I'd rather play Clank, and I gave Clank to Randy. So this had several degrees of separation, and I was not going to enjoy this one. It has that same pressure luck that Clank did, like how far down the path are you going to go? But it was just so distracting. There's tons of things spread throughout the map, and you're just like, oh, well, maybe I should go here. Oh, maybe I should go here. And then before you know it, someone's at the end, and you're just like, wait, what just happened? And then you're turning around and you're running, and the person who got to the end got the really powerful card. And I was just like, there was just so much going on for a very simple game. It was very bloated. There were just too many meaningless decisions, in my opinion, because you're trying to decide like which path you're going to go down, and somebody's camping out at the tavern eating all the people while someone's running down the road trying to get to the end. And it just, there was nothing about it that was very exciting. The deck building itself was also very meh, because they're doing that Dominion thing where you get like victory points into your hand by eating on people, but the people slow you down, but you can digest them, but you have to hit the exact right spot at the exact right time to digest them. So like if you have one of the religious leaders in your hand, you have to be by the church to digest them. But if you didn't draw them and you're by the church, you need to keep moving, but you can because you want to digest your religious leaders. And there was just so many issues like that where it's kind of the Dune Imperium issue where you are so restrained by what you drew that I feel like the rest of the game just doesn't matter, because it's like I'm just gonna do whatever this hand of cards tell me to do, and in the end, very unsatisfying for me. This was a pass. Since I guess we're giving out number ratings, I think I gave this one a 5, if not a 4, but probably a 5.
So your big problem is it should be easier to digest humans.
Yes, I want to eat humans without indigestion and, without any issues.
Let me just say this. I'm glad that doesn't hit too close to home.
It doesn't. I'm okay with vampiric cannibalism. I'm not okay with demonic satanism.
Let's
clear that up.
For me, this goes hand in hand because it seems like a great system is because you sacrifice them and then just eat them. Like, then there's no body. You don't have to worry about, crime and the legal implications. So, I mean, it seems like it's actually right up your alley, actually.
And you can't raise that guy back to life either.
He didn't come back to life.
No. So, John,
well, they might come back in a different form.
I don't know. I've never tried to digest bones. So,
Daniel, hearing you reminded me of the misconceptions that I heard in the review I heard of this game, because when I first saw The Hunger was coming out, I'm like, this looks really cool. This looks right up my alley. The artwork and the theme are incredible. It's like a light horror theme. I don't want anything too grisly, and the artwork in it it goes right along with that. It's not cartoonish, but it's not realistic. It's got enough of an edge to it to make it interesting, and so that alone is really great. So I'm really excited about this game. Then I hear the review that sounds like Daniel, where they're like, it's so many misconceptions that aren't even true about the game. Like, oh, there's just too many things to do and too much going on. There really isn't. You have like 3 or 4 options on your turn. Yeah, there's different things to do and there's different paths to victory. That's a good thing. And then then that's not how you digest your humans either. You can digest anybody that's in your discard or your play area. So when you're getting low on cards, that's where you look to go digest. It's pretty simple. You can do anybody that you have. And so it's pretty easy to figure out when to digest. It's when I'm low on cards. And it's also what I heard in the review what I heard of it was, oh, well, just don't go very far out and get all these humans and then go back in. That got me last place. So that doesn't do you any good. And so then I tried another option. Guess what happened? Last place. It's a tricky game to win. And so you really have to plan it out. And so there's not just one way to win it. I've tried 2 different options. They were both, this last time I didn't even make it back. But even if I'd have scored my points, I'd have been last place. And the first time I barely made it back. And so I love that aspect too, where it's and the person that always won was somebody that made it all the way to the end, but that wasn't the only reason they won, because they were like ignoring points early and they got a lot of points because of the other things that they got that weren't people. And then they got they stopped a lot of the graveyards and got different ways to get points throughout the end of the game. So there's different ways that you can do it. To me, I think it might be a buy. This is one that I might have to get. But besides that, the fact that it plays up to 6 players, how rare is that?
Oh.
You have 2 couples coming over, you can play up to 6 players. That's the kind of games I'm always looking for too. So to me, it's 2 big thumbs up for the Hunger.
I gagged a little bit when you said 6 players. I would never play that game with 6 players. Oh my gosh. Any deck builder like beyond 4 is just unimaginable. Even 4 is like way too long for any deck builder.
Yeah.
4 players.
I'm in complete agreement with Daniel there. At first, when you said 6 players, like, oh, that's a good point. And I was like, wait a minute. No, that's not a good point. We played it at 3 players and it took forever. Or no, 4 players. And it took forever. There was so much downtime between turns. It was,
Yeah. And John, there is a lot to do in that game, and it doesn't need to be that much. Like I didn't go over this point, but to determine who goes first the next round is like a flow chart. It's like which one of these roads are you on, and then are you on top of somebody or below somebody, and then if you land on somebody, you can push them. Yes. And it's just like that's just, I don't know. That's just way too much. And that's on top of like, if I stop here, I get this little token. And if I stop here, I get a card. So do I want to stop here to get a card, or do I want to stop here to get a token? All the while you're confined by your 3 cards that you have in your hand. You may not be able to do anything you want.
That's true. That's true. That's why you have to build your deck better. All the deck building.
Hey, Daniel, let's go play Tyrants.
That's right. Let's go.
Daniel likes games like Ticket to Ride, where you have one choice. You're going to take a card.
Oh,
or you're going to build a route, and then that's it.
You know, I didn't do this to you the whole game, I don't think, but you deserve it now.
Loaded.
Too complicated a game. I can play Pipeline, but the Hunger is too complicated.
Not complicated, loaded. There's a difference.
Too many things going on.
Complexity to the weight of the game is way out of skew.
It's not that complex.
It is not
by
satisfying.
the way, guys, I just heard from our producer.
Yeah.
There's been some behind the scenes adjustment of the points here. It looks like 2 points are going to go to whoever had the best costume tonight. Who do you think won?
Probably you.
Clearly me, because I put the most effort and time and energy.
That is incorrect.
No.
And it's not me, because
I'm thinking it's probably Chris.
It's not John. It is the one, the only, Mr. Sting.
Oh my God, it's Sting! It's Sting, Tony! It's Sting!
Chris, got a question for you. Is the beard gone or is it black?
So
yeah, good question.
So I do, yeah. I guess I'll just go with this. I want to talk about more about whatever it's called, like Hunger, but we'll move on.
Oh yeah, please.
So
please tell us about the Hunger first.
Oh, okay. So I was just gonna say that, like, I don't think it's actually bloated. There isn't actually a whole lot to do, because the cards do force you to be like, cool, I can move 3. I could do one of these. Oh, all 3 are the same thing. Sure, I'll move 2 and do the thing. Like it's the cards, because of the way it works and how little you actually get a movement with the cards when you buy them. Like it actually just plays it for itself, honestly. Like, and then back to the player count. I like the fact that the initiative system works to where it changes based on how far out you are from round to round. So it kind of like, it's not a catch-up mechanic, but it kind of feels like it. But anyways, it changes your order of your play based on how far away you each are time. So with 6 people, it's possible you could like go and then wait. What is that? 11 turns before it's your turn. Like you have to wait 10 turns before it's your turn again.
Right. Which to me, Chris, that does not make it a catch-up mechanic. That makes it a relish mechanic, which is disgusting.
So you relish it.
Like it. Does that go on your pocket dogs that you get from the trash?
Trash dogs.
Your trash
World
dogs?
Series trash dogs. That's a whole nother story for another day.
That is another one. Anyways, so in regards to my makeup, what I did was, so I still have the beard. I didn't shave it, and I'm definitely not going to do that. I care about the show, but not that much. So what I did is I actually took one of my wife's like headbands, and I actually have it like pulling back most of it behind, around my neck. It's pulling it back. So it's like taunt. So you actually only see here. And then I did the black paint on the beard. So it kind of like, blacks out obviously. And then I put on the hair and everything. So
It's fantastic, man.
Took like an hour
say
and 15 minutes, and my wife was a big part of it. So thank
you got to keep that till Halloween.
Yes.
Okay, that won't be happening unless Halloween is in the next 10 minutes. Because I am jumping in the shower the moment this is over.
Hey, we actually have an announcement that we don't want to leave before we tell you guys about.
That's right. We have to give away a game, or actually, we've already given away the game, but we want to announce it here to give them honor and praise and glory. Wait, that sounds almost blasphemous. No, we're not going to do that. But we will recognize them nonetheless. What was that, Chris?
Sounds Roman to me.
Roman? Okay, yeah. That's right. Yes, when in Rome.
Glory to Rome.
So we gave away some games at the local convention that we were part of, Meeple-a-thon in Kansas City, and all courtesy of Lucky Duck Games, who provided us with these games to give away. And it was either going to be It's a Wonderful World, Flamecraft, or what was the other one?
Destinies.
Destinies, yes, of course, Destinies. And so we have our winner that we'd like to announce, and that winner would be our good friend Robin Carol Dolce, who which game did he select?
I think he is selecting Destinies. That was his play.
That's
Actually,
what
guys,
got.
we should kind of talk about this. Anytime you
give him a
see
whoop
us
for
at
that.
a convention, we're going to have a play shelf trade banner, and you can do a video with us for that play shelf trade. And we'll have one specific for that convention, but we'll also be recording them to put stingers at the end of these episodes. Last episode was our first stinger, and this episode will be our second stinger. So stay tuned to the end of the credits to see that. That's all I have.
It's about time to wrap up the episode, is it not?
We have Sting and a Stinger.
Oh, well, let's say, we next episode, we're going to announce our Wingspan winner from episode 8. But enough of winning outside this show. We need to find out who the winner of this show is.
Correct.
We can't see the scores.
Yeah, we can.
And we have no idea that it's a 3-way tie for last place.
Yes.
So good job, Randy, for not making it a 3-way tie for first place this time. Let's all give Randy a round of applause. All right. But the real winner today is Andy.
Thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you today, and I want to just take this moment to talk about one of the latest games I've played, which is a hotness type game right now, and it was a lot of fun. It was called Wonderland's War, and I really enjoyed playing it. I will say, though, that because of playing it and talking about it, I got mocked by some of my friends, specifically Mr. Sting down there, because he told me, he said, I thought you didn't like Amerithrash games. Oh. And I said, well, this isn't an Amerithrash game. And he says, what's Ameritrash, not Amerithrash? And it turns out this is going to end up turning into an entire subject, probably on a future show. But I'm going to talk about it right now. We have these terms that we throw around in board gaming, and one of them being Ameritrash. I thought it was Amerithrash. And there's really not a very clear definition of these things. At least I wasn't aware of them, but maybe I am just ignorant. So, for instance, for me, that term always brought up the feeling of a game like Risk, a skirmish or a confrontational type game with very little depth and strategy to it. But it turns out that's not at all what that means, I guess. So I am the fool. But anyway, but I don't know. But see, that's what Ameritrash is. Is Amerithrash what I'm thinking of? Is there Amerithrash? I don't know.
There is no Amerithrash.
No.
Well, then I'm going to coin the term Amerithrash.
I think Amerithrash was a metal band back in the 80s.
Was that a metal band?
Yes.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Amerithrash.
That's my band name that we're going to do this face paint like this on.
I was trying to give Andy his whole 2 minutes, but I will interject here. No, the Dice Tower has dubbed the term Amerithrash. They didn't like the negative connotation that Ameritrash has. So they've been using Amerithrash now for like 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
So there you go.
So I'm not crazy, but I still don't understand what the term means, apparently.
And it's the same as Ameritrash. So there you go.
I thought Ameritrash was like Munchkin or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Why don't you guys tell Andy what Ameritrash is? So that
we'll debate that next week.
We'll debate it on another show.
About schooling Andy.
This will be a
tell us what you think it is
to come.
and what it means to you in the comments, though. Then
yes,
we can
please
talk about it when we talk about it on the show.
Yes.
By the way, one more thing. My 2 minutes aren't up yet, are they? Oh, they are up. Never mind.
But go ahead.
That penalty on Chris Jones was awful. Just awful.
That should have
And
been
it
your
just-
whole rant.
I just wanted to boo for 2 minutes. Boo. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of our audience that has no idea what I'm talking about, and that's because I'm talking sports ball.
Yes.
Oh,
Thanks for joining us on Around the Board.
Do we have any birthdays to talk about?
Birthdays.
And I want to wish a happy birthday to Evolution and Tiny Epic Kingdom. They're both, what's that? 2014 is when they came out. So they're 6, 7, 8 years old this year. Evolution has spun off many other games, including Climate and Oceans. And Tiny Epic Kingdom has exploded into an entire Tiny Epic franchise of games. I
Universe.
think they're trying to go from A through Z even. So once we could do the alphabet game with Tiny Epic games here soon.
There you go.
So 8 years old today, Evolution and Tiny Epic Kingdom. Happy birthday.
Happy
Well, that
birthday,
does it.
Tiny Epic.
That does it for today's Tiny Epic episode of Around the Board. Thanks to all our wonderful viewers out there. Remember to tap those like and subscribe buttons. Also be sure to join Be sure to join our Facebook group Around the Board. Send us an email to mail@aroundtheboard.net or reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, TikTok. I already said that one. MySpace, Zanga. We're everywhere. Until next time, we'll see you around the board.
later, guys. What the heck happened to Daniel?
All right, Robin, what 3 games are you going to play Shelf Trade today?
All right, the 3 games are Zulkin, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and Lords of Waterdeep.
All right, my friend.
I am playing Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is funny because I own it and I don't know how to play it, and I think it's going to be great, but I don't know.
So in real life, you shelf it, but in this...
Right now, it's absolutely shelved.
Yeah.
But it has a higher ranking to me than the other two.
Okay.
Lords of Waterdeep, with the expansion, is my shelf.
Okay.
If it has no expansion, it's 100% trade.
Okay,
I gotta get rid
gotcha.
of it. Otherwise, Zulkin is my trade.
Wow, Zoltan's your
Yeah.
trade, huh?
Yeah,
Not too impressed with the Mayan
I
technology?
love it. I like seeing the thing go around in circles.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I got you.
That's all I got for it.
I feel the same way.
All right.
Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.